Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters, and welcome to Game 3 between blue Zerg player JulyZerg, I know it's a little redundant, and the red Protoss player MOUZMana. So this map is going to be on Tal'Darim Altar. I was going to say Terminus, but this is not Terminus. Of course, Terminus was Game 1, and this is Game 3. Now, we see that the series is tied 1-1 with July winning that last game and MOUZMana able to win the first game with pretty much similar builds. We'll see if MOUZMana is going for the same build this time or if he's just going to go ahead and try to vary it up a little bit. Just to talk a little bit more about, well, let's talk about the map a little bit. There's 3 expansions kind of right in a row here. Different versions of this map have different things, different ways of dealing with this expansion. They don't want people taking too easy of a third. I think it's especially for Zerg players taking a super easy third. So what they did is they made it a little bit weaker. Different versions have rocks here to make it a little more difficult to take this expansion, but to have the full 7 minerals and 2 gases. This map goes for something just like kind of like Terminus, in which the third expansion that you kind of get, not quite for free because there's 2 entryways into it, but pretty close because it's so close to the rest of your base, is, the same thing here as 5 mineral patches and 1 gas. So pretty much the same thing. We see that MOUZMana actually is going for a Forge fast expand. You can see him building his Forge right here. So he is actually going to vary up his build a little bit. This is a very common build for Protoss players on this map because it's so easy to wall off this little section here, and even if you do complete wall off, it's worth it because you're able to get the Nexus way so early, and it's relatively safe from any sort of kind of Zergling pushes. Sometimes Roach all-ins can be very effective against that, which is why some Protoss players decide to go for Void Rays instead. We do see the probe going down here. It looks like he's going to just kind of sit there for a little bit. I'm wondering, I would expect he's getting a gateway right now. I don't think it's a little too early to get a cannon. No, it looks like he's actually going to be going for the Nexus. Is it because he did in fact notice that his opponent was not in the 2 closest bases? He is in fact in the far corner base, which is why he is deciding to, I guess, get a Nexus next, is what I would guess. But he moved his probe back. I'm not quite sure exactly what he's doing. We do see JulyZerg is doing his typical getting 100 gas, then moving his drones back to minerals, using the 100 gas for metabolic boost. Oh, we do see the little the probe is go ahead and gonna go try to block that expansion. These little Zerglings are going to go ahead and run out and start hitting it and deal a lot of damage. Well, not a lot of damage. They'll kill the probe, obviously. And that probe is not long for this world. I predict a swift end to his short robotic life. No, he's no bicentennial probe. Oh, and able to block the expansion. Nice move on the part of MOUZMana. Able to just kind of be as annoying as possible for JulyZerg. JulyZerg, being a Zerg player, of course, is absolutely well experienced with dealing with this. We do see a cannon and a gateway going up. It's possible he's going to go ahead and put a pylon or possibly set an X-core right here so that he can fully block off this base and prevent any Zerglings from coming through. He's probably going to have to put the probe on the watchtower to be able to watch for when the enemy units are coming. And in fact, I bet we see Cybernetics. Yep, Cybernetics core is going to go ahead and complete the block off. So now that there's no way these Zerglings are going to be able to get in, he's going to have to go for some sort of Roach Warren. And of course, if he gets the Roach Warren, a lot of Protoss players go for Stargates, as I was talking about previously. And the Stargates, of course, deal with Roaches because they are able to fully charge up and they do bonus damage against armored anyway. The Zerglings are going to go ahead and just take the watchtower here, and I'm not sure a couple of them are going ahead and chase this probe. They're going to run him down because they've got speed. Make sure that the probe's not going to get any scouting information. As I talked about previously, it's very difficult to get your probe in to do any kind of scouting. Of course, it's difficult to get us other races as well, because Marines positioned in the right area are able to just shoot probes, especially if you're really good at shooting and paying attention. You're able to stop a lot of that early scouting, which is extremely important. Scouting, I cannot. Oh no! Wow, he's going for a double expansion. Very ballsy on the part of the JulyZerg. Looks like he's going to go ahead and just kind of macro up as much as possible. He saw that his opponent was going for a Forge fast expand, which means that the Cybernetics core is really delayed because not only were you getting it after Nexus, you were getting it after Forge and after Cannon, which means that Warp Gate technology, of course, is very delayed as well. And with the recent time added to the amount of research required for it, it means it's going to be a long time before he has Warp Gate. And because they're cross positions, which JulyZerg knows, and he's able to use his little Zergling to be able to, just keep watch over this area. He knows that it's a really far distance, so he's actually going to need Warp Gate technology to do any sort of serious push out anytime soon. The only real danger would be some sort of Void Ray if he went right into Void Rays and sent the Void Rays out, but that'd be fairly atypical for a Protoss player to do that. Typically speaking, the Zerg player is going to have enough queens to be able to deal with any sort of Void Ray that he didn't go straight into a Void Ray, you know, because he got a Nexus before he got a Void Ray. So, you know, typically speaking, a Protoss player will be able to avoid that. And we do see that the third expansion is down now. JulyZerg's getting the third queen, getting a lot of drones, just droning and droning and droning. If you look at his units, actually, he only has 4 Zerglings for defense. That's it. Of course, his opponent only has 3 sentries for defense. And actually, for the time being, their harvesters are relatively close. It's about to change a lot more, though. We do see a robo coming down, so it looks like MOUZMana is going to transition to a build very similar to what he had before. He's going to have a 4 gateway robotics core. I don't think he's going to be any sort of push out of that. He doesn't look like he's priming up for it or anything. He's probably just going to go ahead and move out. Kill, I'm not sure which building he's going to kill. Probably the gateway, I guess. He's going to kill the gateway. And that might be why he's getting 3 up here, because he wanted 3 gateways. He knows he's going to have to kill this one to be able to get out. But anyway, he's going to go ahead and move out, kill these Zerglings, and then lay his third base down to make sure that he stays academically on par with the Zerg, doesn't fall behind too much, you know, suffer any kind of big losses or anything like that. We do see he's chrono boosting out weapons level 1. He really likes to get those early. Against Terran players, Protoss players like to generally get armor first, because that makes this ult so well able to tank damage. And we see an Overseer going ahead and moving in from JulyZerg's part to see if he can get any sort of scout off. He also dropped a little change thing egg to kind of walk around. He's going to get zapped, though. Split in half and fried. Poor Changeling again suffers. And actually, that Overseer is almost, I'm pretty sure, yep, he's dead. Goodbye, Overseer. Explosion from the hydrogen that he's carrying, which evidently keeps him afloat. Which is so weird. I mean, I've talked about this before, but it's almost like a balloon, like a Macy's Day Parade. You know, I just don't understand that. And anyway, we do see a Roach Warren here. And a Spire going down as well. The Spire most likely to deal with Colossus. It's possible. There's the Robotics Bay. I don't believe the Robotics Bay was spotted by JulyZerg, but we shall see. Oh, now it's spotted. And you saw that if you saw the little blue circle on it, he saw that he spotted the Robotics Bay, was able to click on it, and saw that he was going for Colossus for sure, which vindicates his validates his decision to go ahead and get. Oh, he is actually going to destroy the Cybernetics core. He's going to need another replacement Cybernetics core. Yep, it's halfway done. And he is not opting for hallucination. It's because he got the robotics facility relatively on time, so he's got a little observer down here, able to go ahead and scout out what's going on. He's going to turn right, see that there's a lot of forces defending over there. And the Protoss player, MOUZMana, has in fact moved out, and he's going to go ahead and secure his expansion. Meanwhile, JulyZerg, though, ever ready to maintain his economic advantage, is already taking his 4th base, just staying 1 step ahead, and a macro hatchery, just to make sure that if he needs to macro up a bunch of Zerglings right away, very quickly, or a bunch of Roaches, that he's going to be able to do so. And he knows that he has the extra energy from the queens to be able to larva inject both. Possibly he could get another queen for that expansion. It looks like he's getting another queen, but I would guess that that one is going to go ahead and move up here. He is, meanwhile, getting 5 Mutalisks. The Mutalisks are probably just going to go and do a little bit of harass, not a whole lot of damage. Meanwhile, this Stalker is sad. He's left out in the cold and the rain. He doesn't have any buddies. You know, it's so sad that, you know, everyone can't necessarily find a place to fit in. And we do see that these 7 Mutalisks are going to go ahead and move in, taking a little bit of damage on the harvesters. Got to be a little bit more careful with those. Don't want to lose them. Okay. And ooh, he's able to lose 1. But if we go to workers killed, which because it's a newer replay, we do in fact have the workers killed. We see that 11 has been killed by the Zerg player. Wow, I didn't think that was that effective. But I'm relatively certain that there wasn't any harass earlier in the game. Oh, I guess there were a lot of probes that were picked apart. But I think he killed 6 or 7 probes with those mutas. That was very effective. That was great work on his part. That was definitely worth losing a muta over. And look at that great micro management. Sorry, he was able to swoop in low here, get the kill, and then get out before he took very much damage. You know, his lowest health is at 45. That's plenty. That's 4 additional shots he could take from these stalkers, which only deal 12 damage because they're upgraded. Oh no, 11 because they're upgraded. My mistake. Meanwhile, the Mutalisks are still swooping around, trying to see if there's another expansion, trying to scout around a little bit, seeing if they can pick off some more probes. These probes up here are actually vulnerable, although Blink is now down now. The JulyZerg doesn't know this, but he can guess it possibly. And actually, it looks like MOUZMana is not going to go ahead and expand. There we go. but this is a relatively late expansion. His opponent's already on 5 bases, and look at all the resources. Look at the income disparity. It's almost 1,000 difference between the two of them. That is a really big difference at this point in the game. But JulyZerg doesn't know this, but Blink is done, so the Stalkers will be able to blink up and deal extra damage to these. And blink. Oh, no blink. Maybe he doesn't want to show it, or it's possible that he didn't think he'd be able to deal that much extra damage by blinking forward. He wanted to make sure he didn't blink any units down to the low ground where they could be picked off by the Mutalisks or other Zerglings. And that's not where you want to fly your Mutalisks. Those 2 Mutas don't have to die. Poor Mutas. Sacrificed for the greater good of the swarm, except there was no greater good. There was no bonus that he got there. He's sending his Mutalisks down here. He's going to see if he can pick off the Nexus, but he's not going to be able to. But he's, oh my goodness, that's a lot of Zerglings. I don't know why I use that phrase, by the way. It's kind of an old archaic